Hello, everybody. Welcome back to STR Podcast. This is episode
7.
Siete. I think that's 7. Or is that 6?
Yeah.
Siete. Welcome back to episode 7. So obviously, same as always, we're going over the game weeks. It's myself and the main man, Giorgio.
Yes, indeed. Got my new birthday present, even if it's
Hey, it took a while to get here.
took a while to get here, yeah. But got my new birthday present, wearing it today. Quite happy
Go
about
on.
it.
Show everybody the back of it. He's very happy with it.
Yeah, because I've got 2 now. So.
You got 2 Lautaros. So he's a very happy man.
Yes, indeed. But let's get started with this week's matches. You probably hear more from Daniel this week, because I was away working, but still got to watch the highlights. Got to hear Daniel talking about the matches. Got a good idea of what's happening. So yeah, let's get started.
I mean, it wasn't a super duper eventful week. So
It was one of the matches that was really eventful, but
it still wasn't that super duper eventful, let's be real. So obviously we'll go chronological order. First match, which we'll talk about, of course, league leaders Liverpool went to Selhurst Park to play Crystal Palace. It was a 1-0 to Liverpool.
so from the highlights that I watched, not even a good goal. From who was the
Diego Jota.
Diego Jota.
No,
it was
a
okay.
good finish. It was a poacher goal. It's what you expect from Jota. He's not going to dribble past like 5-6 people. That's not the player he is. So it was expected if you're going to see Jota score that's the type of goal he does score often.
But yeah, again, from the whole team, you would expect more from Liverpool.
I mean, this is kind of what we've seen all season so far. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Arsenal are in a kind of similar situation, but I think it's very different when you look at the reasons behind it. But when you look at Liverpool at the moment, they've not went up against any big teams. They've not got any big results or anything like that.
Yeah,
they're looking a bit
saying.
shaky. They're there and they're like, yeah, they're at the top of the league. And my point is, they will finish top 4, but they are not title challengers. And a lot of people are there saying, oh yeah, they're title challengers title challengers that.
They're only 1 point ahead of Man City and Arsenal.
Yeah.
And again, Man City and Arsenal went against each other already. They went against big teams.
Yeah, Arsenal played Man City away, Tottenham away. We've also played against Brighton so far. So we played 3
Brighton is not
teams.
like a big team, but,
no, but
still
Brighton's
challenging
a good team.
Yeah, challenging team.
So it's like we've played against 3 good teams.
Yeah. So yeah, again, agree. Crystal Palace
didn't take their chances, to be honest.
Yeah.
They played okay. Obviously, they scored in the first minute and then got ruled out offside. Eddie Nketiah. There's a reason why we sold him, as I said many times. No disrespect to the lad. I think he definitely has heart in the right place, but he's not a quality player.
Yeah.
When they subbed on Mateta, big difference. Big difference. I mean, the attack started clicking, but one player I want to highlight on the Crystal Palace team, potentially for the wrong reasons, is Eberike Eze.
It was just bad.
This season he has been. And I think the question which I would have is, him without Elise seems to be nowhere near as good as him with Elise. And I think a lot of people, I spoke to a Spurs fan, because at one point Eze was linked with Spurs, and he was like, oh no, he's way better than Elise. I was like, are you sure? And this is at a point where he was even linked with Arsenal too. So I had a bit of insider's interest and want him to be better than Elise. But I honestly, hand on heart, I can say that Elise was definitely better. And Eze's good, but he's struggling at the moment because he is the person who everyone is kind of relying on in that team to kind of pull their finger out and create.
And he's not doing pretty much anything. I think,
Exactly.
yeah, Crystal Palace is very poor at the moment. Like, their form is very... What's the... They're literally in relegation zone.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's Crystal Palace had a really good end to last season. They looked really good under Glasner, but it's I don't know how to describe it. It feels weird because when you watch the matches, they kind of play well. It's just maybe a couple chances which they could have taken, and the game would have changed massively, especially with Palace. I mean, Eddie Nketiah was only a little bit offside. He could have held his run a little bit, and that would have been a legitimate goal at the start of the match. Turns the game on its head. But the big moment in this match it should have been a penalty.
Yeah.
Van
so
Dijk's
we
hold.
we saw it again from referees, and then we'll talk about it in another match.
Another match. We'll bring it up too, but it was really frustrating because he's holding on to his arm. That's a foul. Anywhere else on the pitch, it has to be a penalty. And this isn't coming from a place of, oh, it's a bit light. He's just holding on to him. Both hands are holding on to his wrist. Like, Van Dijk is literally, Gahey's there like that. Like, getting yanked. And he's running towards where the ball was going to go. Don't get me wrong. It still would have been a save.
But do you think that this is just being biased because the referees love Liverpool, or is it just poor from the referees?
Not because they love Liverpool. The referees, this is a fact in England. Everyone knows it. If you're a big team, you get favourable decisions over the tiny teams.
So
that
just makes my point, because
I'm not saying favourable towards Liverpool, just Liverpool.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying because Liverpool is a big team, because we've seen it with Man City as well. We've seen it with Arsenal sometimes, but
you see it with Arsenal just as much as anybody else. So I'll keep it real with you. But if it was any one of the big teams, the exact same decision would have been made. If it was against a Brentford, it would have been a penalty, I reckon. And that's where my kind of issue lies, is there's this inconsistency so much, and it's whatever the referee says. Like, I mean, we see it now because they'll put out the audio from like referee decisions, and it'll be like, oh, not enough, and then the VR are like, oh yeah, he's right, not enough.
This is literally the third match, the third week that we talk about the same issue. So hopefully next week we're not going to.
It's every week, Giorgio. It's every week.
So I think we shouldn't talk about it anymore.
No, I refuse to back down. I refuse.
Okay.
We'll mention it when they make these errors, because it's important for it to be called out. The players can't do it. The managers can't do it because they get huge fines. They will get bans, that sort of stuff. So it's our responsibility as fans, in my opinion, to call out when referees make these mistakes, because who else is going to hold them accountable?
Yeah.
Their bosses don't. Their boss might say, you know what, you made a really bad decision. Spend a week in the Championship and then come straight back. Okay. You're giving me like an easy job for 1 week and I'm still going to get paid the same amount. Okay, cool. That's all there is to it, and it's really, really poor in my opinion. It's really frustrating because realistically, Crystal Palace get a penalty. It could have been a save. It could have been. And that's the issue, is it doesn't just take away from Crystal Palace, it takes away from Liverpool, because they lose a bit of credibility, because it's like, oh yeah, you got those 3 points. Well, you'd be behind, you'd be third if they scored that penalty.
Yeah. I agree with you.
And if they did score that penalty, who's to say Liverpool wouldn't have hit into a further gear and scored another couple of goals? So it's depriving everybody involved of what would have happened, and there's all these different possibilities. Who knows? But referees, yet again, at the centre of poor decisions and controversy for no good reason.
So, no applauses for this match, because
I mean, I'll give an applause for Arne Slot, because I think he said a comment in the week, I believe, just after the last match. He basically said he's not been up against any top teams. Like, realistically, his team hasn't been tested yet, and I really like when a manager's honest.
I like this manager, to be honest. Like, what we've spoken about the team getting old and not having any signings or anything, and the manager is being really good.
You want me to be honest, and there's going to be something which might be taken out of context if people don't know me. I prefer Arne Slot as a person, because I'm not going to say manager because that would just be clickbait. I prefer Arne Slot over Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp would drive me up the wall, because he's then he'd be like, well, you know, it's been raining. Yeah, I can see it's been raining, pal. It's been raining for both freaking teams. You're tending to tie from AFTV. But Arne Slot is very honest, and I like
self-aware.
It's the Netherlands way, isn't it? A lot of people from Holland are very brutally honest.
I'm sorry, but the Man United manager is from the Netherlands.
Yeah, but
completely different.
He's just a mong, isn't he, though? Let's be real. Like, he is. He really is. But I reckon we give an applause for Arne Slot, because he's being honest, he's doing good football, good tactics, and he's energising the team, which, after Jurgen Klopp, that's a huge task. So well done to him. Okay. Still first.
Okay.
I've got a lot of respect for that, man. And I usually don't for other teams' managers.
That's good. It's good to hear.
He's probably, outside of Arsenal manager, there's 2 other managers who I really like in the Premier League. He's one of them.
Who's the other one?
Everybody knows it, but we'll get to that. I'll you know what? We'll just segue straight into this next match. Gary O'Neill. I love Gary O'Neill. We'll go to Brentford Wolves.
Okay.
So, Brentford Wolves, everybody's seen the results. Everybody has. 5-3 Brentford.
Brentford has been scoring first. The problem is they score first. It's like the fourth or fifth
And
match.
they capitulate instantly.
And yeah, that's the problem that they are having. They either score 5 goals after scoring first, or they do it and then their morale gets low because the other team has scored or whatever happens, and then they just lose badly. There's no balance.
Yeah, there's it's one of those. It's almost like they get excited, and with the football they play, it's very high tempo and everything. And I think at the moment that's what's getting them caught out a lot of the time, which they need to fix up, because even though they're beating a team like Wolves at the moment, Wolves are very, very poor. And we'll talk about Wolves in just a moment, but I mean, Brentford should not have conceded those 3 goals. And even in the last minutes, letting that goal come in, obviously it's not going to change the match, but
it's a good goal. It was a good goal.
For pride's sake, you need to do that. I mean, that's one of the things which obviously I talk about Arsenal a lot, and I won't stop. But with the Arsenal team, you see, when we're in a match and that defence make a block, which would have been a goal, they're cheering as if they've just scored a goal. Like, yeah, everyone's like patting each other on their back, like, you know what I mean? It's that camaraderie of being like, okay, this is what we do, and that's not necessarily what Brentford are like. They're like, oh, okay, at least we're still winning. You know what I mean? It sounds like that's not the mentality to have in a match, and I think that might be why they slip up sometimes.
Yeah, but I think they've been playing well. Brentford have, and Wolves are just very demoralised. Is that the right word? I don't know if they'll stay up this season. Not gonna lie. We've spoken about this before we started recording the podcast, how they've been in the Premier League for a long time without any signings, without any money, without any budget. So it might be the year that they go down, but respect them. They have a good team. They have a good mentality. They have good fans, good supporters.
Yeah, if you look at it in itself, it's that team, and you look at any team, if they don't spend anything, basically, because they're not working at a loss at all. If they're selling players, yeah, they might invest a little bit of that into other places. They have had a couple of signings, but nowhere near what any other team is spending. Not even newly promoted teams, even they're spending more. So it's one of those, it's almost a miracle that they're still in the league, and they're doing a really good job. And when you watch it, like with Wolves and how they play, you can tell that they're a well-managed team. It's just they are losing the players, and that's where they're struggling. It's similar to like an Everton, because obviously with them, they were in the relegation zone, haven't really signed anyone of super-duper interest, but they sold Onana, one of their best midfielders, who's been popping off at Villa. So it's like they need to be careful with what they're doing, because it will potentially get them relegated, and it probably will. But Gary O'Neill is a phenomenal manager for doing what he's done. I think if you put in any sort of relegation manager, you put Fat Sam in charge, anyone like that, they struggle or they fail, quite simply. But I think that's everything for that match, really.
Round of applause for who?
A round of applause. Mbuemo, I think. He's had a very good start to the season. And how old do you think Mbuemo is?
He's 43. No, I'm just joking.
His actual age, because he looks like he's about 50, innit?
Yeah.
I saw this the other day.
He's like 20 something. Yeah, he's 20 something.
Yeah, he's in his 20s. He's 25.
Yeah.
Recently.
I know. It's
what the
crazy.
hell, man? I thought he was in his like late 30s, probably with grandkids on the way. You know what I mean?
So kids and a mortgage.
Fully. So yeah, let's give him a round of applause.
Next match.
Arsenal.
Southampton. Daniel wants to talk about it because he's an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
it was a good match. Finally, Martinelli has had a chance to score after how many matches?
It's been a long time since Martinelli scored, but for me, the big part of that match is, we conceded first yet again.
And it was a great goal from Southampton, which
me,
he wouldn't even expect it for them to score that type of goal.
I'm deluded. I'm not going to say it was a foul on Sterling because personally I don't think it is. But I would like to have a bit of moment on Sterling because some of the Arsenal fans have been... They're just dumb. They're just straight up dumb. And I don't get how they get away with being so friggin' dumb. But all of them are saying, oh, Sterling was terrible. He was terrible. What are you talking about? Sterling was fine. Don't get me wrong. He was bundling it through like a messy boy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how he was getting it through those plays, but he was doing it. He was doing all right, and he looked very, very hungry. Don't get me wrong. It's against Southampton, so it's like he should be contributing or doing something with the quality we know he has. But
what was the problem? What was the problem that he had in that match? Then
it was either finishing or he would wait until too many players were around him. Little things like that. It was almost moments. You know what I mean? It was like almost. There was a few of them, but he looked so hungry. Every time someone took a shot at the goalkeeper, he was running straight at the goalkeeper. Like, I beg you, drop it. I beg you, drop this. Like, literally every time it's a Ramsey, it's like, please. I need this. You know what I mean? And I think you look at it and look how long it took Kai Havertz to finally kick into gear after Chelsea ruined him. Give him time.
Yeah, but again, yeah, I completely agree with you. We've seen it with Havertz, and now even the goal that he scored against Southampton.
He's one of, genuinely, he is like top 3 Arsenal players for me at the moment who I like.
Ever?
No.
Okay.
If it was ever, maybe, no chance. But current Arsenal players, he's top 3 for me.
Who's you got? Saka.
I don't. There's no particular order. I think it'd be Saka, Ødegaard, and him. Because don't get me wrong, I love our defenders, and especially after seeing like freaking Sokratis, Mustafi, and all them, man. You know what I mean? Of course, I love them. But it's the attackers who always catch the eye. You know what I mean? Let's be real. No, nobody watches a match of football to be like,
you know who
oh wow, this defender's playing.
You know who catches the eyes in Arsenal?
Ricardo Calafiori. But yeah, he it's one of those. We played really well, and I'm glad that this is the match before the international break, considering we had to play Thomas Partey at right back. And this is something which is going under the radar a lot for people, is we're getting called this team the
Thomas
Dark
Partey
Arts.
is just bad. I'm sorry, but he shouldn't play. He's just bad. He shouldn't be starting. I think that you give Sterling a little bit more time and then you start him instead of Partey. Change the tactics a little bit. Or Jorginho. I don't think that Partey should play.
I'm just going to say my point and just pretend he never said any of that. Not to make it sound like we're all hating on Partey, but I also hate Thomas Partey. Like, this sounds really bad because it's just like pure hate on him.
The thing, like what I just said is that I hate him no, I don't hate him. Sorry. You don't hate people, you dislike them. I dislike him that much that I will prefer somebody else to play in his position that is not their position. That's my thought.
So you know I'm just going to say what I'll say. Thomas Partey, I think, is a liability consistently. We've talked about it a little bit on the podcast before. He's just very lazy on the ball, easy to take it off of him sometimes. He's a good passer, though. If you give him the space, he's able to do his job well. That's what I'll give him. However, the fact that we had to play him at right back in itself was an issue. But I think, don't get me wrong, Declan Rice isn't the supreme passer of the ball, but he's a better 6 than Partey is. And a lot of this has been coming around saying, Declan Rice isn't a 6, he's a number 8. No, you're smoking something if you think that's the case. Declan Rice is a number 6. He is not a number 8 because his progressive passes aren't at that level. You know who is a number 8? Mikel Merino, who's now back from injury. So, for me...
Yeah, but he's just back from injury, so I think that Arteta will give him a bit more time.
Yeah, there's the international break, which he's going to take, and then he'll probably be starting. I want him to start. Like,
hopefully.
I look at him, and I think we're against Bournemouth next, and I want Merino, I want Rice, and I want, hopefully if Ødegaard's back, them to start as the midfield. Because I look at it, and that's what I want it to be. Because both are able to make progressive passes in Ødegaard and Merino, because they're good with that. Obviously, I've watched the highlights. I don't want to be a highlight merchant, but I do not watch Real Sociedad on the weekends. I'll keep it real with you. But The fact that they're able to do that is really good. I think we have to start Kai Havertz up top. And for Sterling, I'm not going to start freaking Sterling at CDM because that's dumb. That's so dumb. I can't believe you said that. Sterling, yeah, start him striker, left or right wing, but as a number 6, you're smoking something crazy. After what he did in this match, losing the ball, it's worse than Partey. I know you said, no, don't even. Yeah, he did it once and it cost us a goal.
Okay.
It's where
How many
you
goals
do it.
has Partey cost Arsenal?
How many games has Partey started for Arsenal?
I don't know. How many?
A lot.
Exactly.
Do you know
That's
how many,
what I'm saying.
Do you know how many games Sterling
Why are
started
we
for
fighting
Arsenal?
about this right now?
Because
I'm with you. You're with me. Like, we're making the exact same point.
Don't do that. This guy, man. But no, I just think we need to give Sterling some time. But
he's still getting adjusted to the new team
it's
tactics.
It's from what I've seen from some of the Arsenal fans. They're calling him out, being like, "Oh, Sterling, he's crap. He's past it." Mate, he started one match in the Prem. Calma. But Saka, wow. Obviously,
Who was the man of the match?
Saka. He's had a goal and 2 assists.
Yeah. So I think.
Wait, we need to talk about Saka first. Let's not disrespect my star boy like that.
No, I was gonna say we're gonna give him a round of applause.
I know. We talk first and then we give him the round of applause, man.
Sorry. There you
go. Sorry, it's just a fun noise to make. But Bukayo Saka, wow, El Capitano at the moment. Odegaard's out, and he said, "You know what, mate? Hold my boots, bro. Hold my boots." And he's went out and just balled out. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's against Southampton. I'm not going to be like, "Oh my gosh, he's better than Messi." You know what I mean? I'm not going to say something stupid like that. But wow, he's just cutting in that assist for the Martinelli goal. And then
even his goal, he was just like there, straight in position, waiting for the ball to go to him, just in case.
But
Bunk.
one player who needs to kick up the backside, Gabriel Jesus. He was so bad. He did nothing apart from ruin things for the team. I'm sorry, he should not be near the starting 11 at the moment. He's not good enough at the moment. And we know he can be because we saw him when he first transferred to Arsenal. He was phenomenal. But if he's not doing that on a regular basis, he needs to go. Yeah. No disrespect.
Yeah.
But I loved it. For that first goal, though, for the Havertz goal, Jesus is right behind him. And Saka's like, F off, mate. I'm not passing the ball to you. Pass it to Havertz instead. I was like, good, man. Havertz can get a job done. So, I think undoubtedly it has to go to the star boy, El Capitano, at the moment. Bukayo Saka. That was enthusiastic for me.
I'm going to hold the microphone like this now. No, just joking.
No, that's just weird, man. That's weird.
Next.
Manchester City versus Fulham. I mean, Fulham. How many chances do you want Adama Traore?
Yeah, he
gets Man
central
City's.
To like there was one goal we saw that he didn't.
Well, one of the 5 chances where he was like 1-on-1.
Chip it in.
Goalkeeper's on the ground, spread like a starfish, and he's there like,
I'm gonna bang it to him. Bam. What? Why?
Do you reckon I could do a 1-2 with the keeper? You know what I mean? No.
It's like there's top right that you could put it, just chip it in. No, just straight to him.
It was really frustrating. I mean, Adama Traore is probably City's best player that match, and he played for Fulham. You know what I mean? That's how poor Adama Traore was. He was a liability to his team. If you put almost anyone else in that position, they're getting the job done.
They get the job done, yeah.
And
they had loads of chances, and he literally screwed them over. Because Manchester City now, they're struggling with our injured players.
Well, one player specifically, Rodri.
Yeah.
We've seen already how much of a huge impact that has. In 2 matches, they've struggled.
And Kovacic, yes, he scored 2 goals in this match. But again,
if you look at the space he was given for him, it's poor. But obviously good from Kovacic to be able to pick the match up by the scruff of the neck. But I would say
you should score 6 goals against Fulham.
No, what? Fulham aren't a bad team.
No, they're not on a bad team.
They shouldn't be scoring 6 goals.
They're not
Or
the level of Man City.
No, Man City should be scoring 3 like how they did, but should not be conceding anything. Maybe conceding 1 goal, but the chances they were conceding, Man City could have genuinely conceded 7 goals.
They just left Fulham with too much space.
Yeah.
And again, Traore didn't really do anything.
100%. And I mean, it's one of those. The more time City can get away with stuff like that, the better. Because Rodri's out all season, they need to get into the flow of things without him, and quick. Because you can see those defensive frailties there. People are running through quickly on goals, stuff like that. Against other teams, they might and hopefully will suffer. I was watching that match hoping and praying. I was like, Reece Nelson got subbed on. I was like, please, you're on loan. Do something for us.
But
you got an assist, to be fair. But.
Well, do you think that Pepe is doing something wrong, or is it just?
You mean Pep?
Team? Pep. Did I say Pepe? Sorry,
yeah.
Pep.
I don't know. It's one of those. I watched a deep dive video at one point, and it was describing why the defensive midfield is so important in a Pep Guardiola system, and it goes all the way back to Johan Cruyff and stuff like that. Of the defensive midfielder is that guy. You pass the ball into him, he's able to slow down tempo, he's able to see everything. He has to dictate everything. Everything comes through that CDM, and that's what Rodri is for Man City, and he's an amazing footballer being able to do that. Don't get me wrong, Kovacic is good, Rico Lewis is good, all these other players are good, but they're not on that level. When you look at the Pep Guardiola system, look at the level of CDM he's had. He had Joshua Kimmich. He had, because obviously Kimmich could come into the midfield and everything. He had, what's it called, Sergio Busquets. He's had really good players. And Kovacic is good, don't get me wrong. He's won a lot and he's played really well in the past. And he's still good now, don't get me wrong, because in my opinion, he's the man of the match. But, well, he was the man of the match anyway, so I mean, I'm right.
After he scored 2 goals, yeah, of course.
But the issue is, I look at him and I just think, they need a bit more. But how are they going to get it? There's nobody who's going to come on loan for half a season unless they get like a Fabinho or a Kante on loan from Saudi for half a season, which they could do, to be fair. Yeah, which is a shout.
I don't think that in Saudi Arabia they let them go. Like after they pay them so much money.
I mean, they're there for the brand. So if they say, "Oh, I want to go back to England and play," realistically, they could tear up their contract.
Yeah, but they're old player. Like you look, Kante's not that old, but I think he's okay. His head is good. He is, and he's just now enjoying life and money.
No, but look at him when he played for France. He's still good.
It's not as good anymore.
Oh, of course. But
that's what I'm saying. Like, if you have Rodri in your team,
yeah, of course Rodri's better.
Yeah, exactly.
But what I'm saying is, they need a better replacement, ideally. So in January, should they go out get somebody? Should they not? Will they even be able to? Are they going to basically be relegated?
Yeah, you said something really interesting earlier on about Man City.
Yeah, so obviously it was the breaking news today of the day of recording that Man City's director of football is going to be stepping down in 2025, right on the brink of the trial. Because I know a lot of news came out recently about Man City winning a completely separate case against the Premier League, which a lot of people think is related. It's not related to the 115 at all, but it's going to happen soon and we're going to be hearing stuff. And I really just hope that if City have done it, it's not the case of, well, there's this technicality. No, it has to be they have or they have not done this. And I think with the fact that there being 115 Premier League charges, the Premier League have set up a precedent where, regardless of what the truth is, everyone will consider them as guilty. I consider them guilty already. There's not been a decision made. And Man City could have literally have done nothing wrong for all I know. But you have to look at it and say, why would the Premier League jeopardise themselves so much that they would charge the, 3 time in a row Premier League champions with 115 charges of financial fair play? The best team in the Premier League, not the biggest, but the best team.
Yeah, it doesn't look good on the Premier League.
Exactly. The only reason they'd be doing
that's the problem. It's all about money, and we spoke about this already. So it's all about money, and in this economy, I'm sorry to say that, but I don't think anything's going to happen. Just because it's going to look bad on the brand of the Premier League.
The reason why I do is because the UK government is trying to heavily get involved in football because they don't like the amount of money being spent, all this sort of stuff. So if they find out Man City is spending more money and they want to make it look like they're punishing it, it means that there's less chance for a secondary board to come in to oversee the Premier League. So the Premier League will want that pursued as much as possible. And this isn't the Premier League who's charging. This is in a court of law. So it's, if these rules are broken, that is what's happening. The simplicity of it. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. And especially with this director of sport leaving, it could be nothing. It could be absolutely.
Just I want to retire, or I don't know.
I think he's taking a little bit of a break and then he'll go back into stuff. So obviously he's been there for a while, but it could be nothing. But at the same time, at that period of time announcing it perhaps isn't the greatest decision because it's going to make people believe, which is what I'm thinking and what I'm hoping. You know what I mean? But let's give Kovacic his round of applause.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's standard.
He deserves it. Moving on. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but Aston Villa, Man United.
Yeah, I mean, Villa tired from playing Bayern Munich in the midweek. You could tell they looked drained, they looked sloppy.
And Man United is still playing poorly. You know what I heard? There was a rumour that Man United wanted to sign Inzaghi, Inter Milan's manager, and he refused.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And I'm happy.
Manchester United were going around to everybody, twerking on him, being like, please, can you go home with me tonight?
No.
And everyone's like, bro, you're not that, bro.
They're not gonna take away Inzaghi from my team.
They're like, bro, you're a 30-year-old in the club. Go home. You know what I mean? You got kids at home. Like, chill. That's how Man United are at the moment. They're ruining players. They're playing so poorly. The manager is crap. Everything is not working out how they want it to. Ten Hag is looking like it's ropey. The celebration he gave at full time when he had a draw with Aston Villa. And this wasn't like oh wow, we played so well defensively. Oh, we were all over him. No, he was just like, yes, I didn't lose. I keep my job. Yes. And
just shows the mentality again of a really, really poor management, really poor. Everything is poor in this team.
Rival fans everywhere.
I'm sick of it. I'm sick of saying it. What?
Rival fans everywhere. Loving it, man. I'm loving it. It means more Ten Hag, more losses, more terrible matches.
I'm sick of it. Every week we come back and we just slag Man United off, and I feel very contentious against them. You know,
yeah,
but they deserve it. I really don't know.
I understand you. You go back and forth, same as how I do with Man United. Sometimes you say like, oh, but like, it's just
they deserve a lot more because they're one
don't
of the
deserve
biggest,
it. Nobody deserves anything
because they are one of the biggest teams in the world, not just in the Premier League. So I think that the fans deserve a bit more. Like, I feel sorry for them. You know?
Yeah, but
I wouldn't feel sorry for like Man City fans or Liverpool fans but they've been struggling for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's just.
But it's one of those, like, don't get me wrong, you can feel bad for the fans and everything, but at the same time, it's not the fans' responsibility at the end of the day.
Yeah, and
I'm
not saying that it's their responsibility, but at the end of the day, who is it's the people that keep football alive. If you don't want to go to the stadium anymore, something I actually don't like about Man United fans is when they lose, they just leave the stadiums all the time. That's not. You stay until the final whistle. Anyway, if you want to keep football alive, you need to have the fans to stay. You need to have the fans to support you, to love the game, to love the manager, to love the players. And it's not happening with this team. It's just, I'm sorry, but I guess it's just ruining one of the biggest clubs.
There's no synergy. That's what it is. There's no synergy between the fans and the team, and that's huge. As an Arsenal supporter, that's the big thing which Mikel Arteta brought, which is why he's had so much backing, because everyone's like, oh, there's that. Everyone likes the players again.
Yeah.
That's not how it is in Man United. Man United, I'm hearing people slag off Bruno. They're slagging off Martinez. They're slagging off De Ligt already. They're slagging off everybody. Everybody's crap. Everyone's doing terribly. They're all kicking off, and that's the worst thing you can see. And that's, for me, if you're an owner, that's the most important thing. It's not whether they follow the manager, it's how they feel towards the team, because that's the biggest investment you make.
I don't know how long this is gonna. Sorry, I can't. I don't know how long this is gonna keep happening for. Like, I just don't know. I cannot see, the light at the end of the tunnel.
Honestly, it's until they get lucky, and this is
until they get rid of Ten Hag.
No, it's until they get lucky. And what I mean by that is they consistently make the wrong decisions with appointing managers, the amount of time they give them, all this sort of stuff. It's until they get lucky and appoint the right manager. And the reason why I say lucky is I don't think they will know who the right manager is if the right manager turned up stark naked in front of them in the middle of like a supermarket. You know what I mean? They wouldn't see it. They'd be like, oh, okay, no, I'm not sure. Southgate does seem really appealing. You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
what's appealing about Southgate though? I mean,
nothing,
but better than Ten Hag at this point.
No, but Southgate's a championship level manager. Ten Hag is a mid to lower tier Premier League manager. Let's be real. He's not a Manchester United manager, but if he was at Palace, you'd be like, oh, okay. Let's be real. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying, like, with the current situation, I think that Southgate will be a better option than Ten Hag, and then he will stink in about like a season, but it will give fresh air to.
Yeah, fresh air of, okay, you're watching football with no tactics. Time to watch someone with the worst tactics you can watch.
You said about getting lucky, right? He got the final of Euros twice in a row. I could argue with that.
Yeah, I mean, my nan, who's dead, could do the same thing. It's not very hard when you've got one of the best squads in the world. Getting to the final and losing twice, especially in the one against Italy, when you're 1-0 up. Shut up, man. Especially when you're 1-0 up, is a disgrace. That's what it is. It's not like shucks. We were dominant. We were the better team, and we let it slip. And that's why Southgate's crap.
I don't know. It's just a very hard situation at the moment. I don't know. I sympathise with them. I don't know what.
I would like to epitomise Manchester United, both the ownership and the fans, real quick. I said to a Man United fan last season, it was like mid to late last season, I believe. No, it was early on, I think. I said to one of them, I was like, "But would you not take Zidane over Ten Hag?" He looked me dead. He looked me dead in the face and said no. So, yeah, I mean, I was speaking to him and I was just thinking, what? Because Man United fans, they live in their own little bubble. They don't understand. If a manager like Zinedine Zidane, he's around, right?
He was such a great
I'd like to say,
manager.
Obviously, player and manager. You look at what he did, and this is not something which I just heard from him. I'd heard it on like some social media from some other United fans being like, "Oh yeah, but if you look at it like, I don't want Zidane. I don't want Zidane." I was like, "Huh?" He won 3 Champions Leagues in a row with Real Madrid. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, that Real Madrid team was phenomenal, but it doesn't matter.
You have to have a good manager
to win 3 in a row.
Behind it.
He then decided to leave because he was like, "Oh, I've done everything, completed it, mate. I'm done.
Exactly. Like
100% of it. I've got the platinum trophy. I'm going home." And then he said. And then Real Madrid basically were like appointed a crap manager, and they're like, please, Zizou, come back. On their knees crying, we miss you, please. And he went, fine, till the end of the season, yeah, they're safe. Wins the league and just leaves. Who does that?
Zinedine Zidane.
What a man, what a manager, what a player. And he's on the market technically. Don't get me wrong, I don't think in his lifetime he'd go to Manchester United right now. No, he wouldn't. I wouldn't. If I was in Zidane,
you wouldn't. But what if he wakes up one day and he says, "I feel a bit crazy today. I think I'll sign for Manchester United."
Because with Zinedine Zidane, the level which he's shown in club football is he can walk into a top level team and just be like, "Let's go." Why would he go into Manchester United?
Because they used to be a top level team, and they have the potential to be one. What if it feels like I'll be the savior of this team? I go and save them.
Why would he care?
I don't know.
At the end of the season,
boredom. Like he just feels bored.
At the end of the season, Pep Guardiola might be leaving Manchester City. Why would he go to Man United at this point?
Just a challenge. I don't know. I'm not in his mind. I'm saying like everything is possible. You know, like I mean, if I was if it was Zidane, I would choose Manchester City as of right now to go and manage, because I like the glory, I like the shiny trophies, but
It's one of those. It's just, I look at the market and I think, yeah, there's not many great managers out there, but there's better options than freaking Eric Ten Hag. Ruud van Nistelrooy, in my opinion, better manager. He would be better for Man United. There's loads of managers out there who you could say right now would be better.
And I think, I was thinking about Van Nistelrooy, like he played for them as well. So
Exactly,
he's
he's got
like
the
he knows,
he
knows
the
team.
club, he knows the standard, he knows the fans, he knows what their demands are. It's like Ole, right? When Ole was around, there were other managers who were better options out there. But look at Slot. Did you hear of him before he signed for Liverpool?
No.
I know I didn't. And this is not me saying he's a success, because it's too early for us to say, right? Because it is. But he's looking a hell of a lot better in a hell of a lot shorter amount of time. If I was a Man United fan right now, I'd take big Ange Postecoglou over him. And he's not that good either.
He's not. Let's not go.
But we'll get to him later on.
Well, I guess there's no applause for this match. There's really nothing to be applauded in this.
Honestly, it was a very boring match. It was something which I watched and I was there like, oh, I should have just went to sleep.
Yeah.
I was working late the night, into the morning of that day, and I was like, I should have just went to sleep. I don't know why I stayed awake for this. I mean, I missed the first half, which thank goodness, but I was like, I wish I just stayed asleep.
But next match,
Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest. Chelsea fans, do not be dismayed. Realistically, you're going to have slip-ups like this. They're challenging for a top 4 team. They're not a Premier League winning team yet. And these are the results which you get from time to time. You get a draw against Forest. You get a loss against, like, a Southampton.
Yeah.
You get random stuff sometimes. It's just all over the place. You don't know what's going to happen. And they need to just accept that and be okay with it for now. Because they're on the way back up. And that's something in itself which they need to realise and be important with. Cole Palmer, of course, good, but not super duper wow or anything. But you look at someone like Madueke, who's playing well. They've got a good few players now who are performing. But I want to touch on Forest. There's the second big team they performed well against. They beat Liverpool, and they looked like they were going to beat, obviously, Chelsea. Obviously, they got a man sent off and everything, but they're good at doing a little upset this season.
I said at the beginning that Forest will go down, but I am rethinking
your life,
my life, my choices, everything that I've thought so far. But yeah, they looked stronger than most teams that are, mid-table, low-table. And yeah, what you said, they performed very well against Chelsea and Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
They stand their ground. They're playing okay. Like they're being good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think that there's anything else to add to this
Not
match,
much, to be fair.
Madueke scored a banging goal. That's
Great goal.
So I think Palmer won the man of the match, but I think that we should give a round of applause to Madueke for the goal.
I'd be tempted to give it to Big Chris Wood because he wouldn't really get many other chances, but I agree.
Brexit means Brexit.
It's just one of those. He's like a proper Brexit baller, isn't it? It's just like, who's been long on his head, son? You know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. But you know what? I agree with you. Madueke's got a really good goal, wriggled through a few people, and obviously I'm a bit biased against Chelsea, so I'd rather it be Chris Wood, but I think Madueke is the right choice. So.
Right, last one. We're going to talk about Brighton Tottenham.
It's definitely not least on my list. I love a good hate watch. Do you, Giorgio?
It's alright.
Ooh. Usually when it goes like 2-0, I'm like, oh, CBI, I turn it off. But I was like, after the first half, Spurs dominated. They played really, really well. They were
Johnson scored a really
attacking
good first
football.
goal.
Obviously, Brighton had a couple of chances too.
Yes, they did. They were poor in the chances, but I think that the first half was quite challenging, like from both teams. Even though Tottenham scored 2 goals, Brighton still,
they still had
well.
chances. Don't get me wrong, Tottenham were dominant, very dominant. But when it came to half time, and I thought about turning it off because I thought hate watch has been ruined. I thought one word came into mind, Giorgio. Can you think of what word it is?
I don't know.
Spursy. That is what I have to say. What a Spursy performance. They were up and it looked home free, and I just thought, you know what?
I'll just stay just for the banter, and then they score 3 goals.
I said, I'll stay. See what happens. This is Tottenham after all. They could just throw it away, and
they did.
Lo and
They
behold,
did not disappoint your
I
expectations.
saw the first goal. I went, no way. I saw the second goal. I was like, oh! And then I saw the third goal from Danny Welbeck, and I went, go on, my son, ex-Arsenal player, come in clutch. I'd love it, man. But it was really, really poor from Spurs. Don't get me wrong. Brighton turned up in that second half, but Spurs, from the stark difference of it was like Basuma bullying people off the ball, bodies, to just the midfield being weak.
Yeah, they didn't do anything in the third. The third. There's a third half. No, there's a second half. The second half, they were just poor. Like defensively, they gave the Brighton players too much space. We saw it in the second goal. Was it the second goal? Yes, they just too much.
Oh yeah,
space.
like obviously they passed it into the number 14, and I think it was Udogie tries to put challenge in, not strong enough. Van der Ven not close enough, and he's able to get that little margin of space. And Brighton find these players who are able to have that quality. He just tucked it away, and Vicario couldn't get near it either because he just placed it off to the side. Very simple finish, but very, very good to be able to get into that space in the first place. Strength, all that jazz.
So, yeah, Daniel really liked that game. Bless him.
Oh, thank you. I loved it. I mean, and then the final goal from Danny Welbeck. What an assist. That is a never say die attitude right there. Running down the line. Did you see the assist?
What assist?
For the third goal, for the Danny Welbeck goal. He's sliding, hits it into the ground, bounces
I thought
up.
that Welbeck
Wow.
gave the assist. I was like, no, he scored.
Yeah, of course. I just don't know who it was who gave the assist. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
It just says header.
Oh,
because.
But what an assist! It was amazing. He just flicks it up over him. Vicario just looking up in the air like, huh? Don't get me wrong. I'm not blaming him for the goal at all. It was really poor defense from Spurs, but yet another Spursy performance. And you know what I liked, because often I think Ange is just stupid. He's a monk because he comes out and he's like, someone will be like, "Do you think Spurs play poorly?" Man, I don't know what you think, mate, but are you a manager? No, actually, I think you shot it. You know what I mean? He's like, he gets away with it because he's Australian, but he's just a monk. Sometimes in his press conference, everyone's like, "Oh, he's so lovely." No, he's not. If you watch his press conferences, if he loses and someone like challenges him, he's just there. He's like, "Are you done, mate?" He's like, "What? Chill out, bro." But in this match, he looked so angry. I loved it. As a hate watcher, like that image will be in my head for years.
Lives rent free in your head. Yeah.
It's like he was just there and he was just stood on the pitch, just like giving the evils just everywhere. Just like, what was that? And he even said it in his press conference afterwards. He was like, it was woeful. It was not good enough. And this is another manager who's having a breakdown because of Spurs being Spursy, and it's a sign of, in my opinion, a manager realising you cannot take the Spursy out of Spurs. You cannot change a club's DNA.
It's a curse, and we said it already.
I wouldn't even say it's a curse. I would say it's their DNA at this point. It's what they are. They are a team which does not win. It's true. They don't win trophies.
I think that they will eventually, probably in 3,000 something.
No, but it's one of those. I mean, we saw Antonio Conte going on a rant about it.
That is an image that will live rent free in my mind.
Went on a rant about it. It's everybody who goes there who's able to win trophies. I'm not saying Ange's able to win trophies in the Prem because I don't think he is.
Mourinho went there,
but everyone comes out of it being like, it's a bizarre club. Jose Mourinho often, and everyone knows this, talks about how he has a feeling with every club. Manchester United, Inter Milan, Real Madrid, Porto. He's got all these feelings for every club he's ever been to. And he's just like, but for Spurs, you just don't feel it. And I get him, because at Spurs, it's like every club he's went to, he's won. He's a serial winner. Antonio Conte, he's a serial winner. There's only 2 managers in the Premier League era who have beat Pep Guardiola in a Premier League title race. Antonio Conte and Jurgen Klopp. Conte went to Tottenham and it ruined Conte's mental health, probably.
Yeah.
He was probably there just like crying at night like, what do I do here?
Antonio, I rate him.
Great manager.
Great manager. He's managing Napoli right now, and he's doing.
Oh wow!
wonders.
Yeah, he's got Scott McTominay, Billy Gilmore in the midfield.
Yeah, he's
just got
literally
the Scottish pivot.
He has transformed McTominay. He's like everybody loves him.
I would like to say I completely disagree with you that he's transformed McTominay, because I think McTominay is actually a good player, but
yeah. I'm not
Man
saying
United,
that he was a crap player.
Yeah, I know, but you're saying because it looks like he's hit levels. But in my opinion, if you put McTominay in to any of those other top teams in England with a top manager, he would have done the same thing. And that's not me disrespecting Conte. It's just what I saw from McTominay. He could come on, he could make an impact, but Man United ruins players.
Yeah, I'm done talking about Man United.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
but Napoli doing really well. But obviously we're Premier League, so we won't talk about Napoli. But it's Spurs being Spursy.
We could talk about Serie A all day long.
I wouldn't be able to at all. But I just think Spurs have a lot of questions to be answered. A lot.
But yeah, who are we giving the round of applause?
Danny Welbeck, of course.
Okay. Well done. We made it through another week.
Wow.
Hopefully, I don't know if we're gonna be here next week.
Yeah.
It's
international break,
but
we'll make a predictions video. We'll talk about what we think is going to happen in the upcoming matches the week after, and then obviously we'll be back with you the week after for the actual matches, because just like you, we hate the international break, and it makes life so much boring.
Yeah.
It's like, what am I going to do with myself at 12:30 on a Saturday? The footy's going to be there.
FIFA.
Yeah, man, I don't want to play FIFA anymore, man. But it's just one of those. International breaks always ruin it for me. But it's what it is.
Yeah. But thank you for watching, guys. Give us a like, comment, share the video with everybody.
Notifications on, guys. Make sure you never miss one of our uploads, because I know if you're watching it and you've got it this far, you love it. Let's be real. It's a good little laugh, joke about all that sort of jazz. Everything you'd want capitulated into one little bottle. So
thank you so much. Have a good week. We'll see you next week.
See you later.